What's going on, Guitar Grappler here? So today I want to talk about some news. The other day, it looked like Mark Morton dropped a subtle hint, and that was on some of his social media. He had a picture of the Gibson logo. And, an artist like that isn't just going to drop something with no meaning behind it. And, especially being in Jackson and Dorsey and even having a signature Jackson model. Not only that, he's played Jackson for a very long time. I mean, whenever I got into Lamb of God in like 2004, 2005, he was playing I forget what they call it. I think it's a sweet tone. It's like an arc top. I think that's what it's called, but it's a Jackson. It's not the most common Jackson style. It's kind of like an orange color that he played. And he also would play Randy Rhoads V's as well. Not as often, but that was some of his stage guitars. So, and then later on, he eventually got his Dominion series guitar, which is a very cool signature Jackson, and honestly not too far off from like a Gibson Les Paul. So it's official now that he's come out and said yes, he's signed with Gibson and ended his partnership with Jackson. So he switches his Dominion to a Gibson and Epiphone. So I guess he's gonna do similar to what Matt Hafey's done, and because Matt Hafey actually, now that I think about it, I think Matt Hafey's signature is like strictly Epiphone. He has some Gibson Les Pauls, but Epiphone is what he plays on stage. And I think he kept it that way because he wanted people that buy the guitars to actually be able to play the exact same thing that he plays. And I mean, they're in the $1,000 range, so it's going to be a high quality guitar. Whenever you're in that range. I mean, whenever you get into like custom shop stuff, there's going to be a better level of craftsmanship, but it's not that much of a difference, It's hard for me to say not that much, but really, I mean, the guitars are just made really well. Now, Gibson, Epiphone, I can't speak. I haven't really played too many of them. Matt Hafey, he's one of my favorite guitar players of all time. So, if he signs off on it, I'm going to have to assume that those guitars are really good as well. And one cool thing that Hafey's done is he's added 7 strings to the Les Pauls as well. I don't really play 7-string, but I think it's cool that he's kind of taken a traditional, dad guitar, I guess you can call it, and, added his own flavor to it, like, made it kind of modern. So I don't think Mark Morton's going to do that because, if I were to see Mark Morton in the Ashes of the Wake or As the Palace Burn era, him playing Jackson is very fitting, and a Gibson Les Paul isn't as fitting. But truthfully, if you really think about it, I mean, like an ESP Eclipse is basically a Gibson Les Paul anyway. So the guitar is going to cross over no matter what. You can play metal on him. And he's a very bluesy style player, despite being, especially in the more recent Lamb of God songs and riffs that he writes, they're very blues inspired. I always, like, once they came out with, I think it was Sacrament. Yeah, Sacrament. So after Ashes of the Wake, they came out with songs like Redneck, which had like that southern feel to them, and it really fits the Gibson Les Paul. So it's pretty cool that he's switching over. Now, these colors, we really don't have very close good looks at them, but these colors are pretty much what his Dominion signature were as well, which is like a black, and then he has the red as well. I mean, this is a beautiful guitar, that red. I wish we could see it up close and everything, but look, he seems happy. I remember Lamb of God back in the day, it was probably 2005. It was like a rule for them. They can't smile on stage, I thought Lamb of God was just the most evil, heavy band at the time, and then later on I got introduced to like black metal and other things like that. But still, Lamb of God at that time to me was just the meanest band around. So anyways, so let's see. He posted Instagram by Mesa Boogie. Swapping. I'm very curious as to why he swapped, because, I mean, he played Jackson for such a long time. I wonder if he had any issues, or maybe just Gibson approached him and he was like, man, Gibson is, I think in more modern times, they've kind of lost some of the steam that they've had, but even still, they just have such a long legacy that they have that thing. Like, I know when I first started playing guitar, I was like, Gibson is like the ultimate guitar. Even though I didn't even really want one per se, Slash and everybody played it. So it's just like, they have that marketing that really is going to stick with them for a long time even still, because it's still ingrained in me. Although, they've had issues in more recent years. But, yeah, this thing is beautiful. And I bet it plays really good as well. It's hard to tell, but I wonder if he has. So on his Dominion, no, it doesn't look like it. These look like the full blocks. And this is the Epiphone. What is this? Is this? Okay, this looks like it's the actual Gibson. Interesting. I would love to see the specs and everything on these. And how much they're going to cost. Okay, Mark and Willie Dominion model. So I'm trying to see if it really says anything about this guitar. Celebrates partnership with Gibson. Morton guitar upgrade package. Oh, so somebody can win an Epiphone Les Paul. That's pretty cool. So the information on it's still very, it's very new. I just kind of want to talk about it. Oh yeah, here's the post that he did where he just posted the headstock logo. And my 1978 Ibanez I have, they totally ripped this off. It's an Ibanez Les Paul. And, it's a lawsuit model. But, man, they ripped this off so bad. But, yeah, I think it's pretty cool, I mean, if he's happy, I'm happy for him, I love Jackson guitars. And, like, that's my favorite metal guitar. But, I think he's going to sell. It's very interesting with him switching over, and with Matt Heafy already being a part. I mean, Matt Heafy's always had a Gibson Les Paul. But, well, no, they had the Dean for a little while. But for the most part, Gibson Les Paul. So it's very interesting to see, are we going to see metal players start, looking up to these guys and start getting these guitars as well? Especially right now because there's so many good guitar brands, especially in metal with and the 7 strings and 8 strings and fan frets and all that stuff. Seems to be very popular with up-and-coming metal guitar players. So I'm very curious as to how this is going to impact that. And if anybody's going to say, I think it's going to be guys that have been into Lamb of God that may be getting these Epiphones. People around my age, 30s and 40s, that are Lamb of God fans. But who knows? I'm very curious to see. So I appreciate you watching. Keep on shredding.